What's up guys, this is Eddie, welcome to a new video, iEddy DPS, let's go. Alright, iEddy DPS, man, oh man, it's I don't know, is it good, is it bad? I can't decide it. I have been ice for a long time now and I've been testing it out, I've been trying out different loadouts. And sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it just, plain sucks. So keeping that in mind, I came up with two single target loadouts. One of them is consistent, right? It will do consistent damage, but it's not that high damage. The other one is totally non-consistent. Like 10 seconds, it will do very low damage, another 10 seconds, it will do really high damage. So we're gonna take a look at both one by one. Let's start with the consistent loadout. Alright, this is the first loadout, the consistent one. I am 348 CR, my might is 109,299. Alright, first we're gonna look at the gear mods. The first one, we're gonna use blast adapter for weapon and supercharged new venom boost for head, escalating might since it's a might loadout for neck, berserker for back, penetrating strike for chest, restorative wintry tempest for legs, maximum damage for hands, and dashing combos for feet. Now dashing combos is a super speed based mod, so if you're not super speed, I suggest you go super speed. It's doing really great, currently, and works with a lot of loadouts. So if you want to maximize your damage, you need to go super speed, trust me on that. But if you're not, if you want to do cosplay and you want to stick with the special, if your gadgets and your Batman, you want to stick to acrobat, sure, go ahead, but you're gonna miss out some damage. Anyways, now looking at the artifacts, the first one is gonna be transformation card, of course, 200 rank, and it's gonna give you 20% critical chance and 30% critical magnitude on your attacks, and it will give you 3% might. Now usually we pair it with strategist card. Strategist card is a good artifact which will give you some tactical advantage, which is like a damage over time. But with this loadout, we're going to be using Grimorium and Solar Amplifier. So Grimorium is obviously your pet. It will also apply power interaction, and for ice it says right over there frostbitten. So it will apply the frostbitten power interaction on your target and you will do more damage. Other than that, it's just a pet and it will fight by your side, and it also increases 4% might. Solar Amplifier is your heat vision, and heat vision is basically iconic power. It will amplify your heat vision, 10% I-beam damage increase, and also it will make your single target turn into burst damage, and it will, whenever it does the burst damage, it will damage nearby enemies. So really good. Also 5% might. So if I obviously rank my Grimorium to rank 200, it will give me another 1% might, so it will be 5% as well. So there's that. Now this is the loadout. Now looking at the setup for skill points, I am using dual wield. Of course, you can, if you have more skill points, get all of these, otherwise just put one in there. And under super speed, we're gonna just get one. We don't need anything over here. Like this loadout is also for all acrobats and flight users. So if you're super speed or flight or acrobat, just get one over here. Iconic powers, we're gonna use robot sidekick, new venom boost, and heat vision. And stat points, super powered, critical attack chance, critical attack damage, and might and power. And then if you have extra skill points, put everything in precision, because we will be using our weapon range tab clipped with all the powers, so it will increase your damage. Now let's look at the loadout. Alright, so this is the loadout. The first one is Wintry Tempest. This is your basically AoE pool of damage, right? So it will apply damage over time to everyone standing inside that pool. And also the power interaction, it inflicts frostbite, but since you're already using Grimorium, you don't have to worry about that. So really good 12-second cooldown. So pop that. Number 2 is amplified heat vision. Amplified because we're using solar amplifier. This will burn your enemy and it will do burst damage and burn additional enemies nearby your target. And it's damage over time plus burst power. Really good. Now some people be like, why are you using a heat vision with ice? Ice is supposed to be icy and stuff like that. Use that. The thing is, ice is lacking in damage, right? Any power which is lacking in damage, you have to use other powers, iconic powers, or movement mode powers to maximize your damage. So that is the reason we are using solar amplifier, and that is the reason we are using heat vision. Number 3 is your finisher. If your target is below 35% health, your attacks will deal extra damage, really good, some burst damage. And number 4 is ice boulder strike. It's also burst damage, and frostbitten enemies will take additional damage. So this power can go from like 30Ks to 100Ks depending on your crits, depending on your might, and depending on the situation. Number 5 is robot sidekick. Of course, it will be your basically a pet and assist you in battle. New venom boost is a supercharge. Whenever you pop it, it will increase your damage output for a short period of time. So very simple loadout: 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Let's go to sparring target and see the numbers. Alright, so 74K, 67K, 62K, and some 58, 54Ks, because you can see only 21% crit. It's just based on luck. You can't do anything about the crits, so it's just random. But when you get crits, you do get some good damage. And 74K was above 50%. It was not even 35%, like maybe 45%, but it was not under 35%. So your finisher was still, not doing its proper job. So when the target is below 35%, you will do additional damage. So it can go up to like 76, 78K. But it's kind of consistent, but it obviously is not that great. It's good, it's not that great. It's under 70s, but it's not that great. So now let's go and look at the non-consistent loadout, which is gonna do some great damage. Let's go. Alright, so this is the non-consistent, single target ice DPS, but when it hits really hard. And I've been using mostly this loadout for most of the raids, especially in Elite. It works amazing. So as you can see, my might is lower than before, and the reason is everything else is same, but the reason is we have switched solar amplifier with strategist card. So we are still using transformation card, we're still using Grimorium, but we are using strategist card. So a little bit lower might doesn't matter. Everything else is same. The setup is same. Let me just quickly go through it. So you can see super speed, iconic powers are same, stat points are same. So let's look at the loadout. Loadout, as you can see, only one power is different. We have changed ice boulder strike with frost blast, right? But you can see we are still using heat vision. All right, so here's the deal. The thing is, it ain't stupid if it works, right? So this is the deal with this loadout. And frost blast is the best power for ice DPSing. It's super slow. I mean, frost blast is so slow that while I was casting it, I went and watched all Harry Potter's movie, finished it, grabbed my lunch and came back, and it was still casting. I mean, it's so slow that I have like white hair right now in my beard. Frost blast is so slow that like my balls are now saggy, or were they before too? Hello darkness, so the thing is, it's really slow, but it works. Drawbacks, yes, there is some drawbacks. One, obviously it's slow. Number two, it's vulnerable to interrupt. So if you get interrupted, stunned, juggled or whatever, you lose that. Then you have to wait 3 seconds to cast it again. But when it casts, the minimum damage you're gonna do with my stats is 80,000, right? But when it crits, the minimum damage you're gonna do is about 180,000. So it's double, more than double, right? And when you're buffed, the minimum damage you're gonna do is 320,000. So it hits really hard. It's amazing. So rotation is very simple. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pop Wintry Tempest. You're gonna do heat vision, but you're gonna jump cancel it right away. So all we need is damage over time. So basically we will be using 2 damage over times, 1 finisher, and then we'll be using this. While Wintry Tempest is under cooldown, we're gonna go back to heat vision, jump cancel it, number 3 Glacier Flash, and number 4 Frost Blast. So let's go to sparring target and see the numbers. All right, so you can see 93k with ice. Like, can you imagine, right? But there are 70ks, there are 60ks, and in between you can see it's like 40ks, 38ks, right? 30ks, right? The problem is we are doing a 10-second parser, right? So since the casting time of Frost Blast is so slow, basically we have to ignore the second parser, right? We have to ignore the parsers in between, and we have to look at the other parsers with the high numbers. So these are the numbers you're gonna get with Frost Blast. Or you can actually take the first two parsers or take the third or fourth parser and so on, and you can, you know, just get the average. But still 93,000 for ice single target, come on, man. Okay, so this is ice range might DPS. All right, so we have 107,084 might. We're still using strategist card, transformation card, Grimorium. Everything is same except one thing. We're using rifle instead of dual wield. Why rifle? Because as I said before, we are going to be using weapon range tap in between our powers to get more damage, right? So rifle's grenade is AoE damage. Dual wield is just single target damage. So that's why whenever we will do grenade and clip it with the power, it will still do AoE damage. Not a lot, but still, you know, something's better than nothing. Looking at the skill points, 1 point in rifle, super speed, 1 point in super speed, flight, acrobat. Iconic powers, we're just gonna get robot sidekick, new and boost. Stat points, we're gonna get super powered. Put everything in critical attack chance, critical attack damage, put everything in might and power, and the rest in precision. So let's go and look at the loadout. Alright, so the first power is going to be Wintry Tempest, same as before, as single target. It inflicts frostbite, it's damage over time, AoE pool. Number 2 is Frost Blast, same as before, very slow power, but amazing burst damage, and frostbitten enemies will take additional damage. Number 3 is Avalanche. So Avalanche is basically, it will unleash a barrage of ice and snow upon your target and nearby enemies. Basically, it will do burst damage and it's full ranged power, so really nice, but it's vulnerable to interrupt as well, so you can get countered. Watch out for that. Number 4 is Ice Boulder Strike, as before. Frostbitten enemies will take additional damage and it's a good burst power. Number 5, Robot Sidekick. Number 6, New Venom Boost. So very simple setup. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you are good to go. So let's go to sparring target and look at the number. Alright, we have 138k twice, 135k twice, and you can see it's pretty consistent, right? So it's not that great, but it's there. And obviously when you're buffed, you will do more damage. It can go up to 150k when you're buffed easily. And another thing you can do is you can change the Ice Boulder with Freeze Breath from iconic powers. And of course you will have to jump cancel it, or I mean not jump cancel it, you will have to tap your weapon to cancel the animation. You only need first 2 ticks of freeze breath, but that is gonna be mid-range instead of full range. So this loadout is like full range, and if you replace Ice Boulder with freeze breath, that's gonna be mid-range. So this is it. Let's move on to melee DPS. Alright, this is melee ice might DPS, and my might is still same. Everything is same, using dual wield instead of rifle. You can still use rifle if you want to, but dual wield is fine as well. All gear mods are same. The artifacts are strategist card, transformation card, and Grimorium card, as we talked about it before. And this is my Halloween style, by the way. So let's go and take a look at the skill points. Weapons, dual wield, 1 point. Super speed, we're gonna go all the way down here and get Whirling Dervish. You can use Cyclone Push as well, but just get Whirling Dervish and you're good to go. Now this is a super speed based loadout. If you're not super speed, I suggest you switch to super speed, otherwise you won't be able to do much damage with ice melee DPSing. Now, iconic powers, we're gonna use Robot Sidekick and New Venom Boost. Don't worry about Sonic Cry. I was just trying it. It doesn't work with this loadout. It does work, but just not with this loadout. Anyways, super powered and critical attack chance, critical attack damage, put everything in might and power, and the rest in precision as always. Now, looking at the loadout, first one is Bitter Wings. So Bitter Wings is basically like Wintry Tempest. It's basically AoE damage for 12 seconds and it's damage over time, but it's close range, so it's super close range, and frostbitten enemies will take additional damage as well. So nice power damage over time for 12 seconds. Number 2, of course, Frost Blast. I know it's a range power, but we have to use it in melee. It is amazing. Now you can try to use other powers, Ice Boulder or other Snowball. You can spam that, but still, it's Snowball is ranged, Ice Boulder is ranged, everything is ranged. Then why not just use the other power as well? Frost Blast, which actually works. So number 3 is Whirling Dervish. Whirling Dervish is basically, it's gonna spin you like a maniac, and let me show you. So it's gonna spin you like that, and since we're using dashing combos, you gotta tap melee and it will go forward. So spin, tap melee, it will go forward, and when you tap melee, you clip that with number 4 power. So right like this. So number 4 power is Frost Slam. Any enemy which is right next to you, it will take burst damage. Not so great, but still not so bad either. Number 5, Robot Sidekick. Number 6, New Venom Boost. As simple as that. All right, now let's go and take a look at the numbers. Alright, so 154k, 149k, 138k, it's decent, but it's not there, right? Ice DPS melee is just not that great compared to other powers. So I suggest you use range instead of, melee loadout. For Ice, range loadout works pretty good and works in all kind of situation. But one thing, obviously, if you're buffed, if you have, if you are using supercharge, you will do more damage with melee as well. And another thing, if you have Lernia's Amulet, you can replace that with Grimorium. You can use it for melee, range, and single target. Just replace your Grimorium and you will increase your overall damage. But obviously, if you don't have Lernia's Amulet like me, Grimorium works fine. So this is it about Ice. If you have any questions, just comment in the comment section below. Do not forget to read the pinned comment for extra tips, and I'll see you guys next time.